All right. Now let's see if this works. We got a green light. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. All right. Isaac in the back. All right, what we did today here is we didn't do a scripture reading earlier in the service today because actually what I want to do here is I want to go over a couple scriptures throughout the message today. Okay, and I just want to speak a little bit upon all these scriptures here. We're just going to get started right into it with the first scripture here. There it is. All right, Luke 10, 38 through 42. Okay, now, I'm sure everyone in here knows this story. This is a story about Martha and Mary when Jesus comes to their house, okay? Here it is, Luke 10, it starts in Luke 10, 38. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things. But only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. All right, so this is the first scripture of the day. Okay, so what I'm going to do here on this scripture, I want to go into it just a little bit. All right, we'll get some more examples here later, but obviously here you have two different people. You have Martha and Mary, who have two different things on their minds. Okay, and this is what I want to touch on. You want to go to the next slide? Where is your focus? So if you look at these two people in this story here, Martha and Mary, okay, do you know exactly where they are focused by their actions? Because they can say whatever they want, it's the actions that really prove it. Okay? You have one that Jesus Christ, can you guys imagine this? Okay, Jesus Christ is in your house. Alright, let's start with that. Can you guys imagine Jesus is in your house, like in person, just hanging out with you? Okay? So you have one that is there worshiping at his feet, you know, really devoted to him. And it's just, her eyes are directly on Jesus Christ. And, you know, I imagine they weren't just staring at each other. Imagine they were having a conversation. Okay, and then you had the other one who was frantically making sure that the proper china is out, or that the bread is baked, or whatever they did back then. Okay? And whose focus was not with the Lord. All right, it's a great story. Okay, but the story is also from a very long time ago. So I want to share a story with you, something that recently just happened that I was a part of, that this parable or this story of Jesus here would definitely pertain to. Do you want to go to the next slide here, Carol? All right, 2016 example. Everyone knows here, most of you do know that that I'm a member of the Christian Motorcyclists Association. We have a chapter here in Somerset, and this is a ministry that I feel led, that God has definitely led me to go out and minister to bikers. You know, to these people that they might not be anywhere around people that could tell them who Jesus is or get them in the right direction. Okay? We had an event a few weekends back here at Thunder Valley in Johnstown. All right, and this is a huge motorcycle event. Over 200,000 bikes come down for it. It's a great ministry opportunity for the Christian Motorcyclists Association. So we have a lot of different parts that help out with this. One of the ministries that we do, if you look up here, is a booth. Okay, so we have booths. We have an easy up setup, and we have a table there, and there's some tracks on there, and I believe there might be some tracks out in the gathering hall that we use. That if people come up and, we invite them to come up to have a cup of water, and the cups have a little salvation message on it, and the tracks also pertain to each, depending on your conversation, the tracks can pertain to each person. Okay, so at these, we have CMA members who are working the booths per se. Okay? Now, here's my story. This is how this equates to Martha and Mary and where your focus is. So I was up at Thundering Valley. I was not participating in the booth itself. The ministry I was participating in was walking around and just creating those personal contacts with people that were enjoying the rally per se. I also had with me my parents, my mother and my stepfather. Okay? Now, we're out there and we are enjoying ourselves. We're being a part of the rally. We're walking around and looking at stuff. And as the conversations arise, I look for God's guidance as to that divine appointment that He wants me to pray with a person, or where God can use me to help that person. Okay? Now, quick backstory for those of you that may not know my stepfather. His name is Jerry. Do you want to go to the next slide? It's reminiscent of this dude here. This isn't him, okay? But Vera, how close is that to the package, Jerry?
That's pretty much him.
Pretty much him, okay? Could be his twin. All right. So these are the people. These are the people that CMA wants to minister to. That's where our focus is, okay? So I take my stepdad and my mother, and I said, I want to show you, because they know, obviously, I'm a part of CMA. I have ministered to them for many years, and to this day, right now, I can guarantee you and tell you without a doubt that both of them are saved. And I could not tell you that 3-4 years ago when I first started CMA. So that's the power of this ministry. So we went up, and I said, I want to show you guys what we're doing, because this is what we do at these events, okay? I want to take you over to this booth, just so you could see CMA in action, right? So we walk around. It's super hot out. My mom's got to pee. She always has to pee, okay? And so we get over there to where the booth is, and we walk up to it, and they have 2 tents set up. And the first one we walk by, and there's a CMA member there with 4 other CMA members, and they're talking. They didn't even look up at us at all. So we go over to the other side. Not a big deal, right? I figured they were doing something. So we go over to the other tent. And when we walk over to the other tent, there's probably a good 5 CMA members there, and they're folding up rag tracks, getting tracks ready, and, doing that sort of stuff. And they did not look up at us. Okay? So my mother, obviously going back to the bathroom thing, talks to this one woman and who came up and greeted us, okay? And she figured out where the restroom was. Well, in the meantime, while we're standing there, myself and my stepdad, who might have had a very offensive shirt on at the time, okay, if you'd read it, but we're standing there, and these Christians who are focused, okay, they're focused. They wear a patch on their back that says, I minister to these people. I'm trying to take Jesus into your life. They completely made, even myself, but my parents feel completely unwelcome at these 2 tents. Because they were so focused on getting the tracks folded up, or talking to this person who's about to go out and walk the street, or, they were so focused on the preparations of the ministry that when the ministry walked right up to the tent, they missed it. So here's Mary and Martha. Well, that's not Mary and Martha. Well, I don't know. I didn't live back then, okay? But I'm sure that's not them, okay? But with Mary and Martha, here they are, okay? You have one person that is focused on Jesus and that is open to what Jesus is saying to her. And then you have the other one who is focused on the rag tracks and folding them up, And thank God every single day that I was with my parents when we had that, because they know my heart. They know the truth of CMA. And that was just a minor oversight. If that was a baby Christian, a person who just came to Christ, and they walked up to that tent and they felt unwelcome by Christians, how likely would you find them reading this book after that? If their first encounter with a Christian who wears a patch on their back that says, I am a Christian, without a doubt, and they do that, where's that going to send them in their faith? You know, that's what I want to talk about. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, I forgot about this slide. All right. Keep your eyes open to what's there, okay? That's what this is about, is being open to every opportunity that's in front of you. I mean, seriously, who wants to pull this cart? Square wheels, that's no good. All right, now we're going to get on to the next scripture. Go ahead to the next one. Okay, what would Jesus do? Now, this is a great question. I love seeing these everywhere, WWJD. Well, here's what I want to do. This book here has so many examples of WDJD, which is what did Jesus do? And that's where we're going to get into our answer to this problem. And Jesus showing us by leading by example as to what we as Christians are to do. So I'm going to read a couple scriptures here, and then we'll do a short blurb about that, and that's it, I promise. All right, let's go to the next slide, Carol. All right, Luke 8:40 through 49. All right, you guys might know this story. This is a dead girl and a sick woman, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read two different scriptures, and then we're going to talk about them afterwards. All right. Now, when Jesus returned, a crowd welcomed him, for they were all expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a ruler of the synagogue, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. Sorry, I lost my spot. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet in the presence of all the people. She told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." Now we're going to go on to our second scripture. All right. This is scripture of John. It's John 11:1 through 7, death of Lazarus. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha, who we just spoke about earlier. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." When he heard this, Jesus said, "The sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Yet when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. Then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." All right. You can go to the next slide now. So here's Jesus. First of all, he is walking through this town, okay? And Jairus goes up to him and says, "My 12-year-old daughter is dying. Can you help her?" Jesus, being Jesus, "Of course I can. You know, let's go. Let's do this," right? So he starts going. Well, these people of this town, they know about Jesus. So if you look here, can you imagine this? You are getting crowded by this massive amount of people who know the miracles and stuff that you are doing, and they want to see you. They want to be a part of that, okay? So Jesus is walking, and there's this crowd around him. And all of a sudden, he feels someone touch his garment. What does he do? He knows that woman's healed. Okay, here's this woman that reached out and touched it. Jesus knew she's healed. Did he continue walking and say, gotcha, we'll just leave it where it is? He did not. He stopped. He stopped because he felt the power leave, and he knew that that is his ministry, okay? He was going to save a 12-year-old girl who's dying, but while his focus was there, he knew that God needed him to be somewhere else. So he stopped and he said, who touched me? Who touched me? And in this time, his disciples come up because they're in the middle of this crowd. You know, they have all these people pushing in on him who just want to see Jesus, right? And they are worried that something bad's going to happen. But can you imagine the chaos? Who's been in a big crowd that seems so chaotic that you just want to get out of there? There's times where I'm in Walmart, I feel that way. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So imagine being in this huge crowd, and Jesus is like, time out, we are stopping. Just to tell this woman that her faith has healed her. And then, at the end of it, someone comes up and says, the 12-year-old girl has died. Jesus knew exactly what was going to happen to that 12-year-old girl. He knew she was going to die, and he knew he was going to bring her back. But he still took the time to focus on that one woman who was already healed. So now it comes to our next story. Lazarus. Lazarus dies. They get word to Jesus that Lazarus is dead. And he says, oh, I love Lazarus. It's Mary and Martha. You know, I need to get there and see him in 2 days. It's cool. Right? So think about this, okay? He just got word that this friend of his is dead. They're burying him, okay? He knows he's going to bring him back to life. The disciples know that, and yet whatever he was doing, and it doesn't go into specifics of what Jesus was doing there for those 2 days, but whatever he was doing that was in front of him, he knew he had to finish that, okay? His focus was the ministry that was there. He could have left it. I'll be back. I just got to go take care of this, okay? But he didn't. He waited those 2 days, and he waited long enough where when he went back to Lazarus and he went to open the tomb, the people's concern was the smell. It wasn't like, can you really bring him back to life? It's like, he's going to stink. Don't go in there. That's Jesus. Leading by example. So it's not what would Jesus do, it's what did Jesus do. So I ask everyone that's in here today, as a Christian, are you open to these divine appointments that the Lord gives you? When you're walking through Walmart and it's busy and you just want to get home and put your milk in the fridge, watch your TV show, if someone comes up to you and they need Jesus through you, are you open enough and focused enough to see what God is asking you to do? I pray that each and every one of you leaving here today opens your mind and opens your eyes and focuses on what God is putting in front of you to do on this earth. All right, now let's rise and we'll do the hymn, When We Walk with the Lord.